Hello there, how you doing? So, I'm about to have a yapping session, and this is a warning. I'm not sure how long I'm going to go on for, but what I will say is I'll be talking about the HellCore Collection. I'm noticing the behaviour we've seen over the past few weeks is looking to be very similar to what we saw of last year's Heatseeker Collection. Heatseeker Summer. Yeah. Well, that worked out very nicely, didn't it? Just this past post-Christmas, January 2026 time, Heatseeker Collection skins, oh, they worked out very nicely. Oh, they turned into some sweet, delicious-looking profit. Oh, yes, indeed, they did. So, if I'm noticing, like, very similar behaviour with the HellCore Collection, I've got to keep you informed. I've got to make a video talking about it, don't I? But I might be going on for a while. So, by all means, just look at the description. You'll notice all the chapters are provided to you. And by all means, if a certain portion interests you, you're more than welcome to skip ahead. And with that, good day, Ruskin enjoyers. Hope you're right, because it's time to have a lovely little yapping session. Yep, I'm going to be talking about the HellCore Collection. I've noticed, well, been getting quite a lot of skins accepted. But of course, we've seen a lot of transparent aim sights, a lot of pay-to-win features, much like what we saw of last year's Heatseeker Collection. So, I've got to talk about how, things have rolled out so far. I've got to talk about maybe a few concerns. I've got to talk about potentially a very nice potential future where we could also walk away again with some sweet, delicious profit. So, let's get started. I put this video out somewhat recently. Well, it was like a week ago, Hedge. It's still somewhat. Anyway, I talked about the Easter dip. Unfortunately, you might have noticed prices have dropped off recently of Ruskins in general, but we knew that this was going to happen. It's happened many times in the past. I have warned you, we're anticipating this. Well, now it's happening. You might have noticed with a lot of the recent Rust stores we've had so far in 2026, quite a lot of the skins have dropped off. Unfortunately, it was expected, and, well, for all the people out there questioning, Hedge, why do you do Bilder so much? Well, let's just say I'm picking up a lot of the skins that came out somewhat recently in Rust stores now for a much cheaper price, and I'm sure you might have as well. Make sure you maintain those Bilders. But anyway, in this particular video, I also basically talk about how to behave and how you might want to operate with an Easter dip. Because, yeah, if there's less people playing Rust and there's less demand for skins, of course, prices are down. But that also means it's a great time to jump in and buy in. Because, of course, we just had post-Christmas. I'm sure many of you have gone through the efforts to try and sell as much as you can to get as much profit as you can. Well, why not consider spending that profit again to potentially make even more profit? Oh, what a fun concept that is. Oh, yes. So I talk about Christmas skins. Honestly, if you haven't got barders in them, you probably want to go ahead and start looking at Christmas skins. That's a great shout because, of course, the prices they're at now, they very likely will be their cheapest for the rest of this year because slowly, little by little, bit by bit, they're going to gradually keep going up in price. Consider watching this video to learn more. Again, there's chapters for this, just pointing out. But one thing I also pointed out in this, there's a certain HellCore collection that's been pretty successful. And, well, the focus of this video will be talking about how it looks very similar to what we saw of the Heatseeker Summer from last year. Oh, yes. So, did you watch this video last year? Feel free to comment below. But basically, we were noticing some very interesting designs being accepted. Some very interesting pay-to-win aim sights. Heatseeker Collection was rolling out. More and more skins being produced by the Mr. Vase, a very successful and very talented artist. I can't speak. I'm lost for words. It's just so mesmerising. But anyway, some very nice looking skins were being made. Again, the colour scheme wasn't for everybody, but the aim sights were. Oh, yes, they were. And when we saw the MP5 come out, oh, well. How many subscribers did it have in the end? Almost 65,000. And I have spoken to the skin creator. He basically confirmed that like over 100,000 of those MP5s were bought, which is ridiculous, isn't it? And yet, even though we sold an absurd amount, I did warn everybody, yeah, this is very likely to go below its Rust store price. And, well, yes, it did. Yes, it did. Especially around the autumn-fall seasonal dip. So when we hit October time, oh, it suffered. But there's one notable thing. If there's no other MP5 that comes out like that, with the same amount of transparency, that was expected to recover. And oh, did it. Because, of course, back in January 2026, that went all the way up to $4. Just to repeat, sold for $3. At one point, went all the way down to $1.50, but recovered, and it did go up into the positive. It did become a profit. Not a huge profit, but it still did turn into a profit. Because, of course, the demand is always there for lovely pay-to-win features. And then other skins appeared that had very similar aim sights. Oh dear. But the point still remains. Back then, there was a lot of hype with this collection. Back then, we were feeling pretty optimistic. So even though the sales were pretty absurd, we still had a strong level of confidence that people would want to buy this when they all turn back up again around January time. Because, of course, during the period of time around Christmas, kids are out of school, people aren't working as much, lots of people are playing Rust. And that did happen. We saw a lot of people playing Rust, oh yes indeed. And of course, all prices in general rose up ever so nicely. So I can confirm to you, January 2026, every single Heatseeker skin went up into the positive and became a lovely profit. But since then, we've seen one SKS and that's basically it. And, again, like most skins in general, even this has started to suffer. So let's just quickly hop out of this. And now let's switch over to here. So right now we're sitting here, we're looking at all the brand new Easter skins being submitted, some very interesting designs. But let me point this out to you. It's usually expected, right? We tend to see the prices drop to their lowest in general for Easter dip, usually when the Easter Rust stores appear. I don't know why it happens, but yeah, I guess it's just due to the sheer lack of interest, I guess. People in general, they don't really care about Easter skins. Let me tell you though, I have noticed some pretty interesting designs, some very cool looking approaches. I think this should be pretty cool. But usually in general, people don't really care about Easter. And it also coincides with a pretty hefty drop off with the player count, which we're definitely seeing at the moment. But again, this was anticipated. We're expecting this to happen, right? So we're walking into this knowing that this is going to happen. It's happened pretty much every other year. Around March and April time, we see the drop off. We see the prices go down. But we also expect prices to improve once again. Usually, it's July or August, or both, where we see prices improve ever so nicely. And whilst it might not look, it doesn't look like it's a massive climb compared to like previous months, it's happened pretty much every single year. So just keep that in your mind. Whilst we're seeing certain prices dropping off, so let's go ahead and show the Heatseeker collection right about now. It is expected they will rebound, so as long as the demand is there. So Heatseeker collection, nearly every single skin is in the positive, but of course, even the MP5 is slightly down, Python's down, and you haven't even gone through a good time yet, so yeah, that's not too surprising. I do believe that was the very first the very first SKS skin to be accepted. So if you know how new Skinnables work, unfortunately, the first few skins to be accepted for a brand new Skinnable do tend to suffer. It's expected. That worked out ever so nicely, but let me remind you one notable thing. This stopped essentially of like the consecutive acceptances when we had the LR300 being accepted. Technically speaking, we had consecutive acceptances up to the Revolver, then there's a gap, then we had the LR300, but it was still fairly like close to each other. So I'll leave it at that. Heatseeker SAP appeared for a surprise complete the sets towards the very end of the year. And then, of course, as we've already pointed out, brand new Skinnable, Heatseeker gets its shot and boom, it's accepted. So lovely stuff. But it did basically stop at around 7 skins. This is where I now feel the need to step in and talk about the HellCore Collection. Wow, get a good look at that. Now, at the moment, you might sit there and say, Hedge, what's all the fuss? I can see quite a lot of these are down in price. Well, that's part of the thing to discuss. Because with this collection, we are also seeing transparent aim sights. Case in point, HellCore SAR, get a good look at this because you only need to just get a quick look and see, oh, well, that's got the exact same amount of transparency as the Heatseeker SAR. Yep. Now, in comparison with both the sets, Heatseeker collection, strange colours, but a pretty interesting approach. You've got the yellows, the purples and whatnot. But this right here is just black and white. can confirm to you, Heatseeker Collection weapon skins, they are quite noticeable at night time. The night light's good with it. But with the HellCore, it's not very good with night light. You're going to need to put on a aim sight and whatnot. So, okay. Grab your holo, plop it on. You're probably going to need it. But anyway, people do care about the transparency, and we have seen it not only on the SAR, but also the MP5, technically the Thompson, technically the bow, and we have seen it on the SMG. Now, what we saw for the very first roster for 2026, the 1st of January 2026, we saw the AK-47 being accepted. It doesn't have a transparent aim sight, but hey, it's a pretty interesting looking black AK-47. And back then, the very first thing I discussed was how, in general, most black AK-47s do tend to rise back up in price when times are good. And that was very noticeable with the previous skins of the past, like Commando AK-47, Black Diamond AK-47, point made. But what gave that a boost was immediately seeing another skin being accepted, a transparent aim sight, which of course we just showed that off to you. But then, immediately the week after that, another skin's accepted. What? L96? I mean, I probably would have preferred an MP5 or something, but hey, I guess the more the merrier. Boom! Okay, well, 4 weeks in a row, now we've got the MP5. So just to repeat, we saw one skin after another, after another, after another. And I do believe some of these were early picks. They were literally submitted one weekend, and in the very next roster, they're accepted. So, yeah, that had a lot of momentum going for it. That was working out quite all right, oh yes. So, basically, the sentiment was, okay, well, it looks like Face Punch really happens to like the collection. Will it be able to continue after February? Because one thing you might not be fully well aware, we had like a stacked February. So let's just quickly go ahead and remind you. So, of course, with February Force Wipe, it was the introduction of the naval update. And if you can recall, the naval update was delayed like 3 times. And specifically, there was a batch of workshop submissions nice and ready for skins to be accepted. They're all naval themed, boat themed, pirate themed. You get the idea. So all of these skins were submitted back in November time, but the update was delayed. So they thought, all right, we'll just delay accepting these skins. So basically, we had a set roster. We weren't going to see a HellCore skin. So whilst we got 4 in a row with the very first rosters of the year, January 29, there was none that existed, unfortunately. So, of course, the skin creator behind the HellCore collection also was focusing the Valentine skins. So, yeah, there was that. But also, after that, we also had Lunar New Year. So, February was stacked. We weren't going to see a HellCore skin. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it was. But would we return to seeing HellCore skins and rustors as we enter March time? Oh, yes, indeed we do. So, immediately, when we return to non-holiday skins, boom, what's that all the way down over to here? HellCore Thompson. And it really surprised me to see that was the lowest selling skin of the week. But then again, it was priced at $4 a piece. Ooh. Still in the positive, though, isn't it? Whilst many skins are going down in price pretty badly at the moment, you are still in the positive. So, in this particular instance, with this Thompson, what happened was it was just selling far too little, and we were noticing the pattern behaviour where we just kept seeing consecutive HellCore skins being accepted one after another and after another after another. And I wasn't really sure when it was going to stop. Like, were we going to surpass the amount we saw with the Heatseeker collection? That was my thoughts. That was my understanding. That was my hope. But yeah, that's sort of like next to nothing. Yes, this does have transparency, but it's only as much transparency as you'd expect with a Thompson. So I know we've had like Twitch drops, kick drops. I don't think we have a Thompson yet for a kick. But anyway, we did recently have a very interesting Twitch drop with what you see here, simply removing the panels on the sides. That's all the transparency you can have. You can't make like this right here transparent. It causes issues with the skin. So, okay, still, it's another transparent design. And of course, people are very happy with that. But the fact that I was expecting the next skin that was submitted recently to be accepted immediately after this, I had to jump in. I had to buy some of those. And it's a smart thing to do that, Hedge, because of course right now, it's still retaining its price. It's still doing a pretty good job being a profit. Oh yeah. But what I care more about, keep this in your heads, what I care more about is wanting to sell around July and August time. I don't want to sell now. No. I want to make sure I get the best potential profit. So as I said, if prices are expected to suffer around this period of time, so March and April, well, if I just hold on to these potential very nice money makers, these very nice profitable skins, I most likely will want to wait until July and August. Because as I said a little bit earlier, by that point in time, a lot of kids around the world, they're going to have their time off for the summer, or, just time off in general, and you get the idea. They'll be playing Rust. A lot more people playing Rust, much more demand for skins, higher skin prices. You get the idea. So, cool. We've understood that. Anyway, it wasn't saying that much. I was expecting the bow skin to be accepted immediately afterwards, and guess what happened? Oh, of course. Yeah, we saw the bow skin being accepted. Ta-da! So, all right, cool. That worked out very nicely. That was pretty sweet. Would that sell that much? There was one notable detail with this, and that's the fact that this actually had some transparency. Not a ridiculous amount of transparency, but just that little bit right there. A transparent bow! Oh, it's pay to win, right? It is slightly more pay to win than a standard bow, that's true. But, yeah, it's a bit silly. However, looking at that, the only other bow that we saw that had the same amount of transparency just so happened to be very nicely in the positive. Black Ops bow. That did over 36,000 subscribers. This right here, I was getting nowhere close to that. And I thought, honestly, surely we'll see another skin being accepted immediately after this. Surely that's going to be a nice investment. So, of course, I did go ahead and buy 50 of them. And, yeah, we did happen to see another skin. Boom. Because over to here now, we got the HellCore Custom SMG. And if I could just quickly remind you, we did recently have a transparent aim sight SMG skin being accepted. And it did also have to go up in price ever so nicely just this past post-Christmas. So again, we're in the same position of, well, you're not selling that much. Again, most likely due to the price. But the possibility to see potentially another skin, oh, well, that's looking pretty interesting. But again, we're in the exact same position like we were at the end of January. The skin creator needs to take a break from HellCore Collection because they will have to make a holiday skin. So just to remind you, towards the very end of January, skin creator needs to prepare a Valentine skin. Well, guess what's happening? Oh, yeah, Easter. Well, there you go. We might have a break from HellCore Collection. So this is a bit of a concern, but again, if we suddenly don't see a collection continuation appear immediately, do you reckon the HellCore skins might drop off a little bit more? Do you reckon maybe around the second Easter Rust or after people have to sit there and wait for the possibility of seeing a collection continuation, don't you think quite a lot of them potentially might get impatient and start selling on the Steam market? Well, if you've noticed prices in general with the recent Rust or skins, it looks like people are having a bit of a panic at the moment. So I will tell you this. If you're pretty interested in jumping into the HellCore Collection now, if I've kind of bigged it up and got you interested, yeah, maybe wait until like the second week of Easter, then start making a move. Because, again, quite a lot of the skins didn't actually sell too ridiculously, but that only makes things a whole lot more interesting. And I do expect more and more skins to be produced. Revolver, Python, SAP, and plenty more, potentially in SKS as well. I think this collection's got a lot going for it. Much like what we thought last year, the Heatseeker collection. There was demand, there was interest, but interestingly, we now have, well, I guess you could say a cheaper, more approachable option that's currently available right now. Would it still suffer? Could we still expect potentially a rebound? Well, we've got to wait a little bit longer because, of course, it's March. It's March. But HellCore Collection, I do have faith. I do have some strong confidence that you will work out quite nice in the future. I had to record this because it'll be a nice, interesting thing to go back to after we find out what happened. So, of course, I ask you now, have you already jumped in? Have you already made a move with the HellCore skins? And do you truly believe we'll have a very similar outcome like the Heatseeker collection? Do you believe HellCore could end up like this as well? And again, I will repeat, every single skin back in January time was in the positive. Of course, that was before the Heatseeker SKS. So, I feel optimistic. I feel pretty confident. Mr. Jacobian, he's looking pretty ecstatic. Oh, yes, indeed. So I'm deep into the HellCore collection. Well, I am too. Just to point this out as well, I have bought more skins on other accounts as well. Oh, I'm in deep. But again, by default, Black Thompsons, they're going to probably work out very nicely because, of course, all the previous blackout and alternative options have worked out very nicely as well. So that's looking pretty good. MP5 here, well, that's also transparent aim sight MP5. When that appeared, it was listed at $4 a piece, whilst the Heatseeker MP5 on the Steam market was approaching $4. So neither of them really suffered. And with what we have right here, this particular design, well, whilst it's got transparency, it doesn't really like outdo or outclass the transparency we have on the Heatseeker. They're like side grades. This has a few pieces added and a few pieces missing with its transparency. And in comparison, well, Heatseeker, it's got some transparency here and there, but it's got like a few more things that are more visible. So again, both of them perfectly fine options, but this one right here, it's a whole lot more affordable. So for your consideration. But then again, we also did see some Twitch drops, and that kind of led to problems with both of the MP5s. I'm talking about the Recruiter MP5. I'm talking about the Ledoux MP5, which you most likely would have seen and retrieved for absolutely free back in February 2026. So yeah, both of these amazing transparent aim sight designs, but they are free. Oh dear. So right, cool. So basically the general gist is we do have one more HellCore skin that could potentially be accepted. Technically two. For you see, last week, Mr. Delarai, he did submit the transparent aim sight M249. Now, I'm having doubts if this is actually going to happen. I'd be very impressed if it did, but basically we have never seen a transparent aim sight M249 in a Rust store. We did have the Fancy Orb M249, the very nice, interesting glow-in-the-dark design, but when they requested to have like a nice transparent aim sight on M249, Face Punch said, well, you got to even it out. That's a little bit too pay to win. Can we make it glow in the dark at the very least? And they went with that. So, okay, cool. But considering all the transparent aim sights we've seen, the transparent doors we've seen and whatnot, will Face Punch be lenient with this and just accept it? You could price that at $5. I'm sure people would appreciate it. Then again, do you really need to have a transparent aim sight in an M249? Or, just novelty of it? So, I'm not sure if that will be accepted. But at the very least, put it into the pool of contention potentially for a complete the sets in the future. Or rather, maybe, would we instead potentially see the HellCore Crossbow? What? Yeah, this was submitted literally at the very end of December 2025. And yeah, I'm sure you're guessing it. I'm sure you're expecting it. It has transparency like what we saw, the Stinger Crossbow, and of course the Cargo Heli Crossbow. Wow. So maybe that needs a resubmission. Maybe Face Punch were like, no, I don't want to go near it. Maybe they're saving it for a future complete the sets Rust store. Who knows? But I will remind you, based on what we're currently looking at right now, we're up to 7 acceptances. When Heatseeker reached this point, it stopped for a while. Do you reckon this is also stopping for a while? This is where it gets annoying because, of course, I'm not a... What's the word to say? I can't foresee the future. I can guess. I can give you an educated guess. Oh, yes, I can. But unfortunately, I can't look into the future and see if we do end up getting more and more skins accepted. I just showed you that we do have a potential option that could be accepted in the very next Rust store. The last Rust store for March 2026. Or Face Punch could just avoid it because, they might not be super thrilled about the idea of accepting a transparent aim sight M249. Then again, time has passed. Maybe they'll be lenient, as I said. So, yeah, we're in a bit of an odd position now. Are we stuck in the mud? Or are we just waiting for sweet, delicious, glorious success? What do you reckon? Feel free to comment below. Offer your thoughts. But I do believe we'll start seeing some more transparent aim sight skins being submitted. Setup skin, that'd be lovely. Just to remind you, with the Heatseeker sap that has transparency. And it didn't do all right for a while, and then randomly, suddenly it's selling for about $4 to $5. And then it went back down again. But yeah, people do appreciate transparent saps. Again, maybe like a revolver, or a python, or an SKS. Ooh. But yeah, the skin creator is motivated. They do want to keep making more and more skins. And you just got to keep an eye on the workshop. You just have to be aware of what they're producing. In fact, right now, what they're currently doing, let's just get a quick look, because maybe we'll get a quick look at their Easter skin. Do you have one, Delarai? Oh, yeah, you do. Easter Chicks box. How cute. How lovely. So, yeah. HellCore's in a pretty interesting spot. And right now, with what we're seeing here, with the lack of sales with this custom SMG, again, you might sit there and say, I don't care about the custom SMG. That's fine. But if you're stuck with it, wouldn't you at least want to have a nice pay-to-win aim sight skin? That very likely would sell for a nice, approachable price. Well, that of course happened with the Ruin SMG, which right now is listed at $2.19, considerably cheaper compared to this. But this is also looking as if it's going to probably sell half as much as what this did. So both of them are in a pretty interesting spot. And of course, we are expecting immediately another HellCore skin to maybe, possibly be accepted. So we'll see if the M249 actually happens. It'd be cool. It'd be interesting. But that's basically it. That's the position we're at the moment. I must remind you, Heatseeker, it did also suffer for a while. A lot of the skins here, they sold pretty absurdly. They were stagnant for a while when times are bad. But of course, when times are, well, good, they had an amazing time. Post-Christmas was really, really, really good to it. But of course, inevitably, it's also starting to drop off, like most skins in general. So, okay, cool. We've got the point across. We have now reached the same point as we did once we hit the Heatseeker LR300. Does the HellCore Collection still get more skins accepted in the near future? I'm talking literally like the 3rd week of April after Easter. Or is that it? No more skins to be accepted for a long time now. I don't know. So it's definitely a discussion. A bit of debate, but we'll see how that turns out. Sorry for hitting my mic if I've done that a few times. I do apologise. So, at the very least, don't you reckon we should hop in game now and just get a good look at some of the skins that we have? Alright, here we are on game. And now's probably an appropriate time to ask you, the viewer, what do you actually think about HellCore Collection in terms of its appearance? Like, I've had a few people in my chat right here sitting here and saying, oh, I'm all about Heatseeker. I don't need a replacement. I'm all good. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just basically like a black mosaic sort of design with a nice bit of silvery white. Might not be for everyone, but at the end of the day, if it's got pay-to-win features, surely that's enough, right? With the consistent uploads and acceptances, surely that's alright, right? Well, stand up. Offer your opinion. So here we are, where we all started off. The black AK-47 that appeared in the very first Rust of 2026. And, you know, independently. Alright, that looked pretty sweet. Looked pretty good. It was still expected to drop down in price afterwards. But of course, you know, inevitably when times are good again, people are going to look for other blackout alternative. AK-47s, that very likely to go up in price in the future regardless. So, obviously, it turned out differently. Because then we got an immediate sequel. A transparent aim sight SAW has actually been accepted after what we saw the previous year's Heatseeker SAW. So, just to remind all of you that Heatseeker SAW did over 30,000 subscribers. There was quite a lot of sales, yeah. And it had some downs, had some ups. That Heatseeker SAW, that's been doing pretty good over the past few months. So, just saying, it's had a pretty interesting post-Christmas. But this has appeared. It is direct competition. But as of now, I don't think we've seen another SAR skin with this amount of transparency. This is definitely a pay-to-win skin. But if we keep seeing more and more SAR skins like it, I guess it's not too hard to comprehend what would happen next. So then it'd just be based on, well, which one do you prefer? Heatseeker? HellCore? Which is your preferred design? This is where you comment below. So, of course, we also happen to have the L96. Now, this doesn't have any pay-to-win features or anything. It's just a standard L96 design. And, of course, over to here, the MP5. Then over to here, we've recently seen the bow skin being accepted. We've recently had the Thompson being accepted. And currently we're at the Custom SMG. Could we potentially have the M249 actually being accepted? Well, we'll wait and see. And then, of course, maybe one day, could we eventually see the Crossbow? Well, gotta wait a little bit longer, I'm afraid. Maybe it needs to be resubmitted. Maybe it gets pulled out in a future Complete the Sets roster. We shall see. Right, so it would be silly if I didn't actually hold them in my hands. So let's go ahead and grab this. Got the AK in my hands. Looking pretty sweet. Yep. Aim down into the sky. It's a perfectly white aim sight. It might clash a fair bit with the snow. But honestly, overall, I think that's a perfectly fine looking skin. Anyway, let's go ahead and reload. Let's give it a few shots. Lovely stuff. Now, with HellCore skins, there is a problem. It's not light. It's not super easy to see this, is it? No. Unfortunately, this is something that we're going to see in pretty much every single HellCore skin. If you're thinking, I don't need name sight, I don't need holo, you might for this one. So, okay, fair enough. So, hey, at least we saw it with our own eyes. But overall, what are your thoughts in regards to this AK in particular? Go for the comment below. Then we have the first pay-to-win skin. Let's just move the sun around to get a better look. That'll do. So, yeah. Here we have the HellCore SAR. And the second I saw this, I was like, oh, what? Really? Yeah. So this SAR obviously didn't sell as much as the Heatseeker SAR. But it's got the exact same amount of transparency. And it was surprising to see it didn't sell too ridiculously. So, alright, cool. Night time though. Well, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Not super visible, not super easy to see, so yeah. So at the end of the day, perhaps people would probably prefer to use the Heatseeker. If you're one of them, you've got a comment below. Whoa, hold on a second. Why don't I just go ahead and actually do a comparison? So gather around and take a look. What we have right here on display in my hands is the Heatseeker SAR. So, first of all, let's just quickly give you a quick rundown. A perfectly fine looking transparent aim sight SAR. But at night time, well, unfortunately, not exactly super easy to notice. So, okay, HellCore, aside from that, still a perfectly fine option. But in comparison, say hello to the Heatseeker SAR. Oh. So immediately you might notice there, hold on a second. Oh yeah. See, it's got a little bit extra pay to win right here. Just a little bit more. There's actually transparency in the actual aim sight itself. What? Yeah, that happened. So perhaps a lot of people would much rather use their Heatseeker SARs because how am I supposed to spot people while I'm aiming down? Unbelievable. So yeah, there's that one extra small little thing. So okay, understandable. But more specifically, with its colour scheme of yellow, purples and pinks and whatnot, oh, that's actually a lot easier to see at night time. A lot easier to see. So okay, cool. Maybe you won't need to get a holo for this one in particular. But yeah, that is one noticeable advantage in comparison to HellCore. And what you see with this SAR is basically what you see with all the other skins. And of course, what you see here on this SAR, yeah, the nightlight's good for pretty much all the weapons. Yep. So, okay. Lesson learned. But do you actually prefer the style of this in comparison to this? Or maybe you just don't care. You're just probably sitting there waiting for like the announcement of this is pay to win, that's pay to win. I mean, surely you've got like at least some taste, right? What is your preference? Feel free to comment below. So, cool. Let's go put that there, and well, let's go put that there for now. So, cool. Let's grab this. Get a good look at the L96. Oh, really? I don't know what I did wrong. Really? Okay, apparently I can't shoot this without sight. But yep, this was the third skin to be accepted. Dramatic drop off with the sales, by the way. But unfortunately, not exactly performing super great at the moment either. So you got like teeth on the back there, perfectly fun. Strange yet pretty cool looking approach. Come on, this has to be it, right? Yeah, I hit it once, but it didn't go down. Okay, 2. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, nighttime look. I mean, shooting this at nighttime without a scope on. But yeah, I can't really see it that well. So, same pitfalls, same issues, and unfortunately, this is one of the lesser performing ones. So, maybe it might have a nice rebound if we see a lot more skins being produced and accepted. We'll see. Now, over to here with this MP5. A perfectly fine amount of transparency in comparison with the Heat Seeker MP5. Do you see like the little notch to the left there where my left thumb is? Yeah, that's here. But on the Heat Seeker, it's not there. What we also happen to have is transparency within the actual aim sight. Heat Seeker doesn't have that. So, okay, cool. I mean, at least it's got something different. Something interesting about it. But, again, same pitfalls. Not exactly super easy to see. Oh, dear. So, alright, cool. Let's give that a nice reload. Perfectly fine. And then after that, we happen to see the Thompson. So as I said a little bit earlier, the Blackout Thompson and Blackout alternatives, they've worked out wonderfully. So interestingly, people happen to really like Black AK-47s and Black Thompsons when times are good. Oh, fair enough, I'm not going to complain. I'll happily sell to them and get some profit. So yep, perfectly fine like a Thompson. Again, it's got a white aim sight on it. Although with all the black literally just next to it, I don't think it'd be too much of a problem. Also, it looks like it's got like a bit of yellow to it. I hope that's yellow, otherwise I've gone mad. Right, nighttime look. And yeah, pretty much the same thing that we've already discussed. So, understood. Again, I will reference that the only portions that are transparent are like the side panels. So, I'm referencing right around here. And no longer there. What happened? Well, I mean, for, the skin creator knew that you know, people wanted more transparency with the brand new skins. So yeah, he went with the safe option. Just removed the side panels there. Like that's what we've seen with Twitch drops. That's what we've seen of other transparent Thompsons of the past. You get the idea. Right. Let's go grab this bow. Yep, we've got transparency right there. And for a very long time, I didn't respect that it's actually useful to have some transparency up there. So let's just go over down to here. And let's pretend I'm going to fight. And I might be shooting at someone over here. But depending how high or how steep like the mountain climb is there, you might spot another person appear from the rocks. And they're starting to aim at you. Like it gives you that extra little bit of a pay-to-win advantage. But yeah, it's not the first time we've seen this. And the Black Ops bow of the past. It did work out very nicely, didn't it? Yep. But unfortunately right now, this in particular isn't doing stupendous. It's retaining its value perfectly fine, which is nice to see. It's just, yeah, I mean, it could be a little bit better. I'm better off at looking at my hand there. Right, fair enough then. Right. So, night light's a bit, but we've kind of understood that by now. I was trying to grab it whilst I jumped down. What you see here is a transparent aim sight, custom SMG, and the last one we saw being accepted did work out quite nicely. Just this past post-Christmas, Ruin SMG did push it up to $4, maybe even for like $4.50. But what we have here is a perfectly fine addition. Right, let's get a good look at you. And of course, nighttime look. Yeah, same pitfall. Not super easy to see. Yeah, you should know by now. So, alright, cool. But still perfectly fine, compact looking design. Do you like it? Leave a comment below. Right, let's now showcase skins we could potentially see in the future. Strong, potentially. Okay? Doesn't necessarily mean it's guaranteed to happen, but yeah, you know there. So, I repeat, I don't think we've seen a transparent aim sight M249 yet. And, well, there's a reason for that. As I've already mentioned, it seems Face Punch was actively avoiding that. But after seeing how things have turned out somewhat recently, like more doors getting transparency, with various weapons getting a lot more transparent aim sights, what do you reckon then? Could this end up getting in, being allowed? Could it be the beginning of many more M249s with transparent aim sights? Well, we'll see. Anyway, nighttime look. Yeah. Okay, it's not super easy to see again, so are we surprised? We knew. But do you really need to have transparency in the M249? Offer your opinion. So, alright, cool. Aim sight's not going to do you a lot of like help. It's not going to really help you out when the snow, but not too bad, not too shabby. So, alright, cool. And then, well, I tried to shoot, but I don't have any ammo. No. Yep, that's a lovely amount of transparency. Creative, and yet didn't really take away too much in regards to the vision that we could have. I think a lot of people go pretty good for that, like pretty crazy. Not too bad, not too bad. And of course, nighttime. I aim down, I look at it, I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't see much. So, yeah. Same problem again. Unfortunately, nightlight's not doing it, not doing it any favours. But the transparency, oh, I think a lot of people would greatly appreciate something like that. So, we'll see what happens with this potentially. It was originally submitted at the very end of December. Maybe a perfectly fine resubmission could potentially lead to this actually being accepted again in the further future. It's up to skin creator. So, alright then. So that is essentially everything. Wait, how do I, come on, get on there. So you gotta get the M249 now. There we go. Right, I don't know why that took forever. You can tell I'm not doing super great right now. I am tired. On Sunday I went to the hospital and I thought, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just walk there. So, 6 miles. I don't normally walk a lot, so my body wasn't enjoying it. And everything is tired right now. So. But I hope I was enthusiastic enough to make sure that we got a good glimpse and a good look at this collection. Now, does it continue to prosper? Because right now, in general, prices are slightly down. It's not looking super great. But it doesn't stay like that forever, does it? No. Eventually, as we get closer and closer to the summertime, or more specifically, July and August time, I do believe there'll be a good rebound for these skins. It wouldn't surprise me if it all ends up going into the positive again. However, with some of these being sold at such a high price, not ridiculously, but like higher prices, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see some suffering. It's, yeah. So, alright then, cool. That was a lovely little yap session. Little. Hedge, I think we're here for another 45 minutes again. Oh, oh well. But I was enjoying myself. I hope you did too. So, once again, thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Keep an eye on these skins. Perhaps they might be a very nice consideration to invest into certain things that could potentially lead to some sweet, delicious profit. God, you sure do love saying potentially today, don't you? Yes, I potentially do. But yeah, just keep an eye out. Their prices could drop off a little bit more. And if you just wanted to buy them all because you happen to like them, honestly, I'd probably just buy them now if you can. Just to be sure that you definitely get like all of them. So, alright, cool. Understood. So, yeah, that's it. That's a wrap. Catch you later. Say goodbye.